to Play Ball. Welcome to the podcast with no limits. Whether it be sports, current events, or random thoughts, this is the place to step in and stay a while. Your host is a proud alumnus of Rio Hondo Prep, a former minor league baseball umpire, and a man with strong opinions. Welcome to the Get Home Safe podcast and your host, Matt Hersema.
Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Get Home Safe, and a very happy Mother's Day to all of the mothers out there. It is a special day. Every year I am recording bright and early on Sunday morning. I thought it was rather fitting to get up a little early today and to get this thing out for the people, for the masses, since people will be busy, I'm sure, doing things with moms out there and going to church and, probably going to lunch and doing all kinds of stuff. So happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there. A truly special day. Father's Day, a few weeks away as well. But man, there is something about moms, and you guys who know me well know that my mom's been gone a long time, and this summer will actually be 15 years, which is just crazy to think about. I think of her often, not just with good things but bad things. Like, I don't know. Anything I'm ever going through, I kind of reflect on her a lot. And I guess in summary, what's most difficult about her being gone is I have so many questions. I still have so many questions and advice that I would love to bounce off her. She was somebody that I could really tell anything to. And I really, really mean that. I look back at some of the things I told her. I'm like, oh man, I don't know. My mom was a pretty understanding woman. She had her moments as well that I bashed heads with her as a teenager, especially. But overall, my mom was very good to me. She pushed me. She told me how to treat women. She told me all the time when I was growing up, like, don't you get a girlfriend too early, don't you get, which I didn't because probably not by choice, but she was always like, women are going to want to take your time. And she was very open and honest with me just about everything in life. And I guess I didn't realize it at the time that the time that I had with her, it was being like bottled up into this intense amount of 23 years for me that, you think, I think she even said it before. Someday I won't be here and you're going to have to, the things all moms say, which is hilarious. Somehow, some way, all moms say the same thing. It's like they got earpieces in or something, because all of us can relate. Yeah, my mom told me that too, or whatever, it's just so funny that, yeah, dads have their dad jokes. Dads are all about discipline, but there's something about moms. I don't know what it is. I can't put my finger on it, especially with boys. I don't know, the whole mom-daughter relationship. That's something just super foreign to me. But as far as moms and boys, it's she would have to remind us sometimes, like, because it was a house of boys, my brother, my dad, and her, and she was in charge. But you had to, like, she would often remind us, hey, this isn't just a boy's house. Just to, she would lay down the law. But my mom was somebody that I went to for a lot of advice. And currently in my life, as I'm approaching 40, I'm still a year and a half away or whatever it is. I'm 38 now. It's just wild to think about. And I've had all of my 30s without her, most of my 20s. And I think there's times you can probably tell, like, that I haven't had that influence in my life, because we all need that. I'm a firm believer in, we need both parents in the homes. And I think that would be something that would drastically change a lot of the things that are going on in the world, and especially our country, two-parent households, because you get not just double influence, but there's something you learn from each, a mom and a dad. And I know there's blended families, there's different families. That's no knock on that, but I think the ideal, definitely, and where our society has gone off the deep end a little bit is that, and losing that mom dad influence. So Happy Mother's Day, guys. I mean that. I know for a lot of you, I had planned to record with some guys today for the other podcast I do, and it was me, the motherless guy, the non-wife who's a mom guy, who was like, "Hey guys, you know what? Next week is Mother's Day. Let's not do that. I don't want to get you guys in trouble. I could pull it off. It would be just fine for me, but." You guys got things going. You make sure, your wives and your mothers, you take care of them because it's a big day for them. So they dodged a bullet. I won't mention their names or name, solo, whatever. You know what I mean? But it was me who said after a few minutes because sometimes scheduling and planning things, it's hard getting multiple people together. And you guys have seen that over the course of the time on the podcast. But I'm trying to think of a story or memory from my mom. You guys know the AM PM thing. I've shared that with you before. I plan on going there today, stopping by an AM PM. I've been eating really good, but today may make an exception, get a soda, get a hot dog, because to this day, that was still my mom's favorite Mother's Day when we were, I don't know, 9 years old, 10 years old. I was anyway, and my brother 3 years younger. And we took mom to AM PM after church because we had, $3.50 to our name and 8 hot dogs on the hood of the car. So it's become a Mother's Day tradition for me that I'll at some point stop there. But yeah, I miss her. I do. I miss her a lot. I drive by the cemetery almost daily because just my route home and everything. And it's weird in a sense when you lose somebody so close to you. You don't forget them, but I've gotten so used to life without her. I have to like stop and think back to life with her to be like, oh yeah, that was a pretty good time. I wish I had that right now, because life goes on. Life keeps spinning, whether you're ready for it or not. And I've been going through a lot of things in my life the past few weeks, past few months even. And I come on here and I try to talk to you guys about them because I don't want to depress anybody. It's actually uplifting. It's nice to get things off my chest and to not just tell you what's going on in my life. And because I'm a pretty guarded guy, I keep to myself. But it's good to, once you throw something out into the public, once you post something or on Facebook, or once you physically say something and it's recorded, it's recorded forever, really, unless you delete stuff or whatever. But putting myself out there has not been the easiest thing, but it's been good for me to come on to pod, throw it out, about what's going on. Therapeutic, we'll say. I don't know, something like that. But my mom, I won't make the whole show about her. She wouldn't want that, but she was just a joy. She was somebody that made everyone laugh in the room, and that's cliche, but she really, really did. She was so different than me, where she'd come in a room and she was the life of the party. Like maybe I eventually get there, but usually not in my immediate my immediate interaction with people. I'm a little more introverted, guarded, whatever. Then it's, but when it comes to my friends, people I know very well, different story. It's on right away. And so I don't need to be the center of attention, and neither did she. It was just something, her personality, how she was, in a sense of, it wasn't about her. She was like trying to make everyone else feel comfortable. And even the most shy person in the room, constantly at work, she befriended a lot of people that it just seemed like going through a hard time. She was that type of person where she would want to know what's going on and want to help, want to just be a smiling face and a listening ear. And so I have a lot of questions as I grow older here. Not even just not really woman related, but just you need a woman's perspective sometimes. And I actually have some very good friends that I have, I can get that from, honest, just thoughts, but there's nothing quite like your mother. And it kills me when I see, families, who, the parents don't talk to each other or something like that. Like it's troubling. It's sad to see, because in a way I'm like, man, you have this still, and you guys are getting in each other's way somehow. Like it's sad. You should work it out. So we go to advice to our parents for a long time. And then at some point we think we know it all, right? Which we don't. And then they want to keep giving advice. We don't want to hear it. And it's just the vicious circle of life that occurs. But I would give anything to have one more lunch with my mom and to just bounce so many things off her. I would be so curious what she thinks of this podcast, me becoming a FedEx driver of all things, just the route I have taken. And I would have probably made less mistakes along it if I had maybe her influence or her to go to for advice. She was far from perfect. None of us are, right? None of us are perfect. And she would upset me at times, as joyful and vibrant as she was, when she put her foot down, it was yes, ma'am. You know, there was no dancing around it, and she could be she could be tough. She raised two boys, maybe a third if you include my father, Dave. So yeah, she I'm trying to think of anything specific, but like it was just like she knew how to snap everything into attention and then also just put things in perspective real quick, say everything that needed to be said, get right to the point, and kick us into high gear. I just remember more. I guess that's the memories I have most. And I was still living at home at the time when she passed and everything. And as I went through college, and my mom she was definitely a morning person. And I've transitioned into a morning person. But you know, as a teenager and college kid, you hate the mornings, and she was always singing and always making up words to songs, which I kind of do now, like in private. I don't put myself out there that much. She would make up words to song about coffee. She'd sing coffee songs to my dad as they're getting coffee. She'd sing songs about waking up, you know, teenage boys. It would be her own song, or she'd take tunes of a song and put lyrics to it. She was just very much in the morning. So a lot of times when I don't want to get up, which is often, it's dark out, and I'm like, it's just like, well, at least mom's not singing in this room right now. So let's get up and make this happen, right? Just snap to it. Let's get rolling. Because today was one of those days where I didn't wake up with an alarm, and it's still relatively early for any morning, really. But I often wonder, I'm like, was waking up without an alarm a good thing or a bad thing? Either your body is controlled and ready with a built-in alarm clock, or you got something on your mind. And I think it was a little bit of both. It's hard for me to, I used to sleep pretty late, especially if I worked late. But now, even no matter how, and I went to bed pretty late last night. I was working the Quakes game last night, got home kind of late, and stayed up for a minute, not too late, but I don't know. Sometimes when I wake up without the alarm, it's like, oh man, I didn't sleep well. There's something on my mind. And I think I just wanted to get to the podcast here and get at it. But I do have some other things I want to share with you guys. Happy Mother's Day. Mom, miss you. And hard to believe July of 2008 was 15 years ago, almost. But it's been 14 Mother's Days without her. But she's always in my heart. My heart is heavy, usually days like this. And it gets easier. But at the same time, as you grow older, you're seeking wisdom, because I have a bunch of decisions, a bunch of things on my mind that I want to bounce off of somebody, and she would be perfect, honestly, for so many of these questions. So miss you, Mom. Diane Gladys Hersema, formerly Diane Gladys Mora. People are shocked at the Mora last name, the whitest Mexican woman of all time. And I am her offspring, as of course, not quite Mexican, but a little blood in me, which does help in some occasions. So anyway, happy Mother's Day. I hope today you guys have a positive spirit, everybody. I know some of you, I got to meet Mom, or we got to have a barbecue. We got positive. Hey, Mom's still around. And for the new moms out there, big day. I know a few people out there who, recently had either their first or a second or third kid, and never gets old. I got to imagine to have a new addition to the family, and to be the matriarch of the families out there. So I have something that has been I've been struggling with actually for years, and I don't know, the direction again coming on the podcast. A few years ago they shut everything down, right? And I think we all got used to a lot of things. We got used to doing a lot of things in our house, watching online, doing podcasts. It was nice for that, because I could talk to anybody, anywhere, really, at any time. But we get used to things. We get complacent in our lives. And things I don't really need that. You know what I mean? Or on the flip side, oh, I do need that. Now we have this instant. I want it here tomorrow, right now, you know? And so something I got used to doing that I'm not proud of, but I stepped away for a reason. And it's really not a specific reason. It's a few different things, but something I haven't been doing in a while that, again, I'm throwing it out here, is I haven't been attending church. And it's something that I guess I didn't realize I needed um until recently, like until it's something I've wanted to do. Actually, it's not like I am making excuses, but it's kind of like, I don't know what would be a good fit for me. You know, I used to go to Care Youth Church. I went to Glenkirk for a minute, then I stopped going, and it's just kind of like you don't go once, then you don't go a few times, and um, I think it's good to go weekly. There've been times where I haven't during my stretch when I was going. So in kind of challenging myself these past few months, this is a new challenge that I am putting out there, something I want to do to better myself. But just again, your walk with your faith, whatever you want to call it, it's important to make good habits. And I think this is a habit that I really don't have an excuse to not do. And you make justifications for a lot of things. I'll just watch a service online, right? It's weird for me to always, no matter work, school, and anything, like meeting new people. I am not rude or anything like that, but I'm always a little shy. I keep to myself, and so the thought of going to a new church, and even though it's the whole concept of like meeting people and you know, your fellowship in Christ and all that, like that's what it's all about. But in a sense, it wasn't my, like, I don't know, style, right? I don't do the in your face thing, or you shouldn't be shy. You shouldn't be shy about this, but it's just my nature, I guess, that I have to fight sometimes. So anyway, I am today, Mother's Day, May 14th. I am making a return to church, and I think I know it's going to be good for me. It's going to be good for me, and if nothing else, it's a good habit. Because where else do you get wisdom from? You know, you get so many of the people out there in the modern world that are, you know, they say they go to church, or, you know, but to me, they don't really seem sincere. But like, I don't know, all the people a lot of people I listen to on podcasts and things of that they have a faith base, the religious. Dennis Prager's always preaching, you know, as a Jewish man, to, you know, attend church or synagogue, whatever works for you. Religion is good for you. And I was always kind of like, yeah, that's right. Yeah, that is right. Now it's like, wait a minute. It is. What are you doing? How come you can't just sit on the sidelines and be like, yeah, we should do that. Yeah, that's good for us, but then not do it. And so it's something I'm going to give a go at here. I know myself. I know that I may not be 100% success rate attendance wise, but I'm going to do my very best to be up there in the high 90 percentiles. And if I'm 100 for a while too, that'll be great. It's a couple of churches I had in mind, and mostly because of the speakers, the pastors. Jim Miller is at the Real Life Church in Glendora, which he was at Glenkirk before. I've always liked what he has to say and his method, and he speaks to me really. So I've listened to him in podcast form, you know, every Sunday, whether out driving or doing something, but I always set aside that time. And then another guy that I'm really fired up about listening to, he's got great passion, is Pastor Jack Hibbs from Calvary Chapel, Chino Hills. He's pretty famous, pretty known. That's where I intend to go today and to give it a shot, Calvary Chapel, Chino Hills, and to experience that, because Jack Hibbs is someone that, you know, fought all the COVID restrictions and the lockdowns and everything. He again has a podcast and a lot of great platforms and things that he posts. So sometimes in my experience in going to churches, you know, it's almost like you get to the message or sermon, and then it's like, all right, now I'm good. It's somewhat the flow of a church service. Like there was one of the first churches we went to here that we tried after Care Church was it was like sang for like 40-50 minutes straight. There was nothing else, and then it was like a 40-minute sermon after that, and it was just like, it was boring. There was no flow. There was no, I'm not saying you got to do all these different scenes and acts and everything, but you got to keep things moving. You got to keep things fresh. And I think any message, any sermon, if you get going, past 30 minutes or something, you start to lose people. At least me. I don't know. Maybe some of you, you're hungry for the word and the Lord, and you just like, you're locked in. And the topic is always, relevant, or it's got to be relevant to you to be a little more interested in it. But I am declaring here on the Get Home Safe podcast that I am going to head back to church. It's been a long time coming, but it's something that I definitely need. And I want to improve myself. I've tried to improve in a lot of different ways recently, because again, going through the motions of life is odd. Some people can't deal with the everydayness of life, just the regular routine of life, right? It gets depressing or whatever. And in some ways, I thrive on rhythm and routine, and just like, all right, this is what we got to do today. This is what we got to do this week. Let's knock it out. Let's check it off, and boom, boom, boom. Look at all the things we did throughout the week. But there's also something to be said about having a purpose in everything you do. Move with the purpose, right? I was kind of reflecting the other day, like, all right, I go to work, I do my podcast. That's great. It's been fulfilling. But what is your purpose? What's the next move in life? Like, what is it? It took me a great amount of time to move out. The first time I've moved, 3 different places, or no, 4. Lived in 4 different places since 2016. Yeah, the summer of 2016, I've lived in 4 different places. And I've been happy at each one. But that was a big, I can never move. I can never afford all that. Right. But you find a way. And so I've gotten to a place now where a lot of the things I've been pursuing have paid off. And it's kind of like, all right, what's next? What's the next step? And I'm excited for the next steps. It can be a little intimidating, but I'm also ready. I'm ready for some serious changes. I have some plans. I have some goals in mind that I will eventually share with you guys. But a quote that I've always had in the back of my head, and something with any decision I make that is so simple, and it's simple, and you have to think about it. But you're kind of like, all right, yeah, I get it. But it's from Davy Crockett, the great Disney character who's a real life person, fought and died at the Alamo, of course. But Davy Crockett's quote of, "Be sure you're right, then go ahead." It's kind of like it's one of those Yogi Berra-isms. Like, what does that mean? But in the simplicity of it, it's just like, make a decision. Be sure it's the right one. And maybe you don't know until after you've made the decision. But for the most part, be sure you're right, then go ahead. Sometimes you get the question, is this really what you want? Is this what you want to do? And you have to think about it. Be like, yeah, this is what I want to do. Knowing what it's going to take to achieve those things. I think that's what the quote means. It's kind of like, take into account the decision you're making, everything that's going to happen before and after the decision you're made, and then go for it. Because I haven't always been the go for it guy. I did it with umpire school. I did it with college, kind of, just because I was like, I struggled to get through it. The FedEx thing comes to mind. That was something I just said, you know what? I'm just going to go for it, and I'm going to commit to it and see where it goes. And had a great experience. In 2 years, I got to be a full-time position where I'm at now, and couldn't be happier. But it's always like, all right, what's next? What's next? We can get stagnant. Sometimes you just want to sit and watch a game or whatever. But recently I've been in this mode of like, all right, what's next? I know it's not just a little next either. It's like you grow older. I've had goals the past, 10 years, things I wanted to do. And it's like, why aren't you doing them? Why don't you work a little harder? Why don't you try to get there instead of being like, oh, it'll happen someday? It's kind of like the church thing. Just like, what's stopping you? Why don't you just go? It's like, you're right. Kick myself. But I have some serious goals, some big ones. Some of you out there know what they are. And sometimes you need that push, the push or a reason why there's a goal. I don't want to give anything away, but I want to give, without giving an example, I don't know if I truly can. sometimes we have a goal, something we want to do, and you're kind of like, I don't know if I can ever do that. Maybe someday, maybe someday. And then someone says something, or maybe they're doing something, and you didn't think there was any other person in the world who wanted to do what you were doing. And you're like, oh man, you want to do that too? What steps are you doing to, and then you feed off of that, or a group of people. That's what I think I'm going to find in a church is I'm going to find like-minded people that have kind of some of my goals and thoughts in mind. So I've had some really good friends who have pushed me over the years, just randomly. Hey man, you can do this. Just go do it. And things can seem so, I'm going all over the place, I know, but things can seem so intimidating, so big. I can't do that. Baseball, I can't umpire home plate, professional baseball, 90 plus mile. I can't do that. You do it. You try, you stick your foot out in the pond, you get a little better, you get acclimated. And I guess in summary, I'm learning that it's okay to chase some dreams and fall, even if you fall short. I've done that a few times already. Baseball was a big one. Both in minor leagues and in college, I had goals that I was pursuing and it didn't work out, and I'm okay with it. So I have a few more new goals in mind that I'm ready to pursue on a daily basis. I've had some self-improvement in my personal life that I'm very pleased with. I've hit a milestone or two in a place in my life that again, I'm kind of private, so that's all I'll really say. But I'm not done. I'm still pursuing. The relentless pursuit is back on in some areas, and I'm excited about it. It's going to be hard. It's going to be a challenge, but I'm not letting doubts creep in or obstacles. I'm just like, when I get focused on something, a task at hand, a goal where I finally say, all right, we're doing this. I go all in. I go all out until it's done. And I probably get that from my dad, who was always, I want this off my mind. Let's just go do it. Let's do the darn thing, get it done with, right? And it could be something, I see that in myself, like shopping. Guys, I hate shopping, right? Especially clothes. Trying on pants, you might as well waterboard me. I mean, that is like the worst thing on the planet, because I am short and wide hipped, and I can't find pants anywhere. They're getting easier these days. You know what I mean? So that's definitely comforting and nice. But yeah, it was always, let's get this task done. Let's do it. Let's get it done. Don't have to think about it, and it's over with. Plus achievement, all that stuff. The relentless pursuit. And I lost motivation a while back about a lot of things, and I just moved really slow. And I've kind of been moving slow. And I'm just, I got a few things I want to share. I want to share them with you. I really do. And with challenges are opportunities, right? And some people are like, oh, that's too hard, I don't want to do it. But how do I say this? Opportunities present themselves in many ways. It may be a challenge. It may be like, hey, not too often we have this handout society, right? Hey, what are you going to give me? What can you do for me? Generally, opportunities don't come that way. It's when you say, oh, I have a job opportunity, right? For instance, that's an opportunity for you to put your resume in, sell yourself, why you should be hired for the job, what you can contribute, right? It's a challenge. It's not just an opportunity. You see it everywhere now. Trabajos, right? Jobs, work here. You know, people are begging for others to come work still. And I have a good job. I have a fun second job. I got another third job I'm kind of doing. And as I live in California, the cost of living is just so high, and I could probably spend a little more responsibly for sure. But I'm just always looking for other ways to make more money, to save more money, to get ahead, stay ahead, right? That was a good pitching phrase. Was changing speeds is important. And, pitchers is a lot easier to pitch ahead than behind, meaning, if you got 0-2 count on a batter, it's a lot easier to pitch 0-2 than maybe 3-0, right? Where you got no room for error. where if you're 0-2, you're way ahead. You can waste some pitches, make a guy chase one. Anyway, I know I'm all over the place, but I am just on I'm on like a high right now, is the best way to explain it. And it's not just because, Mother's Day and thinking of my mom or anything like that. It's just, you hit a moment where I don't think I've been lazy by any means, but you hit a moment where you're like, you've achieved some things. And now it's like giving you confidence and power to be like, I now know the strategy. I know the blueprint of what I got to do. And maybe this next challenge looks like a, Mount Everest, but I have a strategy. I have a plan now. I have a plan of attack. I can do this. It may take some time, but I can do it. Whereas before, so many times in my life, I can't do that. There's no way I could do that. But again, you get little victories. You get a few success stories in your life, and you're like, and I have plenty of non-success stories, trust me, or mistakes that I wish I could take back, but that's not life. And what does Coach Sean McVay say of the LA Rams? There's no losses, only lessons, even though they had plenty of lessons last year at 5. And let's see, they had 5 wins, and I'm never good at math. 5 wins and 13 lessons. Is that right, Coach Sean? Anyway, they'll be back. The Rams will be back. Probably not this year, but maybe in the distant future. But it's true, man. Challenges, they're opportunities. And I'm ready to embrace some of the opportunities in front of me. Have this relentless pursuit. I'm going to be sure I'm right, and then I'm going to go. And I mean, that's great advice and a great method. It's because so many of us, and I'm thinking of a few people individually on the pod right now that friends of mine that have done this. They have made their decisions. They've pursued some things that they probably wish they wouldn't have, but in the end, it wasn't the end of the world. They gave it a shot. There's nothing worse than looking at a pitch you should have swung at for strike 3. Sure, oh, that wasn't a strike. You can, sure, if you thought it was out, whatever. But when a pitch was a strike. Funny story, in the minor leagues, when I first started, I was working extended spring training. So you get some like mix of players there, like big leaguers, AAA guys, right? And I was just this, rookie ball, A-ball guy. And so extended spring training, some guys would go there just to get some work in, right? Recover their injuries. And we played like 10 a.m. games. Sometimes we'd play 5 innings or 7 innings. Usually it was 9, but we'd do weird things like, hey, we're going to have 5 batters this inning regardless. Oh, hey, one more out. Sometimes it was a long inning, be like, hey, roll the inning. It was just exhibition stuff that didn't really matter. And it was good for us to get work. But anyway, one of the first games, I think it was a AA game, AAA, one of the games I'm working. And behind the plate, and you feel good, but you're like, man, I think I know what the strike zone is, but these guys obviously know it a lot more, and they can tell that I'm not, like, I don't know. They know who I am. I'm just this rookie guy, and so, but it was hilarious. One of the first strike 3s I had, this batter is at the plate, kind of a free spirited, fun loving guy at the plate, and it was this big breaking ball that maybe like you could think was maybe that was high, but it looks good from here. And I'm about to call strike 3 with this like panic in my, like, oh, that's close. I think it's a strike 3, right? I'm about to do that. And the batter, he looks at the pitch and he just goes, yep. And he starts walking out of the batter's box. Like, yep, that was a strike. Shouldn't have watched that one, basically. And so my timing, because I waited, a good timing, it feels like forever when you're back there. Some people are like, man, these umpires are slow, but sometimes you need to see it, process it. You don't just pop strike, it's pop. Yep. Strike. Like that's generally your rhythm and timing. And so when that guy did that, some AAA guy, I think it was, and he just went, yep. And he walked away. I was like, oh man, this is easy. Strike 3. I don't know why I told you guys that, but that guy looked at a pitch that he knew was a strike, no complaint, and walked off and was mad at himself for not swinging. And so many times I've looked at good pitches, if you know what I mean, not as an umpire, figuratively as a batter, where I should have taken a swing and I didn't. So I'm definitely going to do that in the near future. And I got plenty of things to share with you guys eventually with all of that stuff. Let me see here. This is something totally random, but this show is all about random, right? I need a little more coffee here. I even brought the pot this morning, threw on my Sunday best, but my Sunday mediocre here for Mother's Day and the church service upcoming. But you can use the imagery you want here for anything. But sometimes in life, no, I'm not going to go there. But water jug. It's getting hotter outside, right? I'm always you got to stay hydrated, and if you're not thirsty, become a FedEx driver, and you will be. Out there, or the cab is generally nice and cool with the air conditioning, but in the back of the truck where the storage is, it's rather hot in there, and it's getting hotter outside. And it's important to hydrate, right? So I try to be good and carry a water jug. I've been through three different jugs. Yeah. One I returned because I just got it and it wasn't big enough. So I'll count it, but not really. So I originally tried one that was really big, and it was plastic, and there was no like strap or anything. Sometimes, like, even just walking from my car to my truck in the morning, I'm carrying a backpack. I got other things, like it'd be nice to have like a little strap, right? And there's different waters. I mean, there's like a 32 ounce one, which is pretty good size. But then there's like a 2-gallon one. I settled on one that's like 64 ounces, because that's a good amount of water, like, to drink throughout the day, I think, and you can refill it. But anyway, moral of the story is, 3 different times now, I thought I had the right water jug, the right one that was, this is perfect. This is a good size. It's sturdy. But it busted. I was like, what happened to the lid? It didn't clip right. And so it busted. I got another one. I thought, shoulder strap here. This is cool. But it was not plastic. Well, this was plastic. Yeah. The other one was a little more, kept things cold better, but this one was a little more flimsy, but it had a strap. And I was like, no, this one works, but it wouldn't keep things cold. And I was like, man, I'm 0 for 2 on these waters. These things are expensive. I finally, the other day, got one. Was that stainless steel? What's that material? It's like metallic or whatever, but it has a strap. It has this, it has that. And I was like, okay, this one is what I've been searching for. It's sturdy. You can bang it around. It'll keep things cold. It's a good amount. But I guess the moral of the story is, sometimes you think you have things figured out. Sometimes you think you have the right water bottle that works for you. And you're like, no, there's issues here. There's problems on it that I didn't foresee. And again, that's just learning in life and everything, right? And so I thought I had the right one. I thought I had a lot of things figured out in my life. And then all of a sudden, when the right water jug is like, why didn't you get this earlier? Like, what's the phrase? We were joking about it the other day. If you buy cheap, you buy twice, right? Sometimes spend a little extra money knowing what you should have got, knowing what is would work better for you. You knew it all along, but you had to make the mistakes to be like, yeah, I should have just done this in the first place. This jug is perfect. What is that? Goldilocks? Too hot, too cold, just right, something like that. I don't know. It's been a long time. I've been all over today, guys. I know, talking Mother's Day and goals and church and now water jugs. But yeah, the right equipment, which, case in point, for those that are not aware, this podcast, another example, outside of water jugs, it's like the water jug, because that just happened, but the podcast, my first microphone, it was just this little one that I didn't even probably need. It was flimsy. The first camera I had, I didn't even really have it, but the microphone, I had the sound bar. I finally invested in the Shure mic that a lot of people use. And again, spent a lot of money. I probably didn't need to, had I just spent the best money early on, knowing this will work for me. This mic was intended for me, instead of trying to make other mics work. Round peg, square hole. No, square peg, round hole. What's the phrase? It's one of the two. I need more coffee, I'm telling you. I swear I have content, guys. Don't laugh at me. It is early in the morning, and I got up here to share a few thoughts, because I had some things on my heart, things that, again, I know it's just water jugs or podcast equipment, but there's more to it, if you know what I mean. I live in this world of analogies, and it's just the language that I speak, that you kind of, when you get in your own head, you get deep in thought. you start to analyze everything, right? And in some ways it's good, but other ways it's like, dude, chill out, relax. So let me see. In summary today, and one final thing. I talked about it kind of, my mom was a really bad thing back in 2008. Really kind of reset everything for me, ground zero of my life, if you will. And I think that I'm starting to figure out and see in this crazy world that just like bad things hit you at random times of your life where you're like, where did that come from? How did that? No, I can't do this. I know that good things also come into your life at the most random times you did not expect. You never thought something was possible, or you never thought something this type of good would happen to you. And so I guess that's my battle cry for everyone out there today, is that if you're going through stuff and you feel like, man, it's just constantly bad things coming my way, the past few years, whatever it is. I know we all went through that, right? 2020 through 2022 maybe, or even we're still going through it. Bad things hit you at random times, and it's you're never ready for it, right? I can't do this. Well, you find a way to get through it. But on the flip side, I do know that good things can randomly come into your life as well. And I've experienced that. I'm hoping to experience that more with, the church service today and beyond. Again, I have some goals in mind of things that I want to achieve, things that I want to strive for on a daily basis with this relentless pursuit. If you're not getting closer to a goal, you're moving towards something or going backwards, right? There is no really standing still, right? Hold your ground. Like I was watching again. Whenever if I get free time, I flip on I bought Gettysburg like a year or so ago, and like if I'm getting dressed or something, I'll just flip it on sometimes to watch a scene, or because it's like a 4-hour movie. But anyway, it's still one of my favorite movies. Yeah, hold your ground. We don't really do that in life. We do a little bit, but in closing, keep the faith. Maybe find your faith, as I'm trying to do. Re-find it. Is that a word? No, it's not a word. Bad things come in bunches, but good things do also. And when good things start to happen to me is generally when I start to get paranoid. I talk in baseball terms all the time, right? Man, this game's been going pretty smooth. I'm really worried. I'm freaking out. What's going to happen? Generally, bad things don't happen then. It happens when you get complacent and you're just like, oh yeah, I got a job to do. But I'm learning more and more, and I've had plenty of it. My mom dying, plenty of other things. Bad things hit you in your life. You can't control them. It's just how you respond to them. And on the flip side, good things randomly come into your life that you didn't expect. And it's how you respond to those to either pursue more goodness or continue the pursuit of it. Or do you let it go and not appreciate the experience, I'll say it, what God put before you. People, the whole concept of predestined, is everything preordained? Does God let bad things happen to you? Does he give you good things? It's an interesting concept. I want to talk about it with maybe a good friend or two of mine, that I think it would be a fun conversation, because if everything's preordained, then what's the point of like effort? Or is it like there's 4 or 5 options, 4 or 5 roads you could take in this situation, where that if you go left, you go right. Okay. Then you got 4 or 5 options here. I don't know. It's an interesting concept that I'm searching for a lot of truth and answers. And that's a big reason why I want to get back into church. I expect some of you to hold me to it. I'm going to come on here and talk about maybe my experiences, and I don't know, maybe even now and then share a verse or two. That would be cool. Again, keep things fresh and relative here on the Get Home Safe podcast to keep interest peaked. And I know my loyal listeners out there, we're never going to be anything massive. Well, I shouldn't say that, because I've learned, as I've told you many times, never say never. I can't do that. Yes, you can. You can if you put your mind to it. So we'll see. But I'm going to share some personal info, personal growth, we'll say, along the way, and just really excited about the future, because I haven't been as much in the past. I've been a little more oh, the future is uncertain and I don't know what to do. And I got some rhythm, got some routine, got some good experiences under my belt. And I'm kind of like, I want more good in my life than negative. I want to control what I can control. And I intend to do that. And I'm going to keep doing the podcast. And this podcast will be my ability to be accountable to you guys. And I'm gonna be real busy the next few months, next few years. That's all I can say. I am determined to for some big changes in my life. I'm excited about it. And if you're having bad experiences, guys, if things aren't working out, don't worry. Keep the faith. Hang in there. Good things are bound to come in the very near future, and they come at random times. Like I said, don't let your guard down, because good things happen when you least expect it. That was something, again, back to my mom, which we'll close with today. She said it all the time. It drove me crazy. But she was right. And maybe it's something all moms say, but she would always say, everything happens for a reason. And it sums up, kind of like that Davy Crockett quote, be sure you're right, then go ahead. I mean, everything happens for a reason. Couldn't be more true. The good, the bad, the ugly, right? It's life, man. And it comes at us in intense ways. It comes at us fast. And you gotta pursue it to the best of your ability. And there's plenty of mistakes I made, but I'm putting them behind me and I'm looking forward. So those are my thoughts today on Mother's Day, guys. Happy Mother's Day once again to everyone out there. Hug those moms, give them an extra squeeze. They deserve it. Tell them you love them every chance you get, because you never know when it could be the final time. And I know moms love hearing that. So be good to your mothers out there, guys. Happy Mother's Day. I will be back next week with a fresh report of my recent church experience, which will occur here in another hour and a half or so. And I'm excited, guys. That's the best way to put it. I've been in a rut before. Maybe you can't tell here on the pod, because I put my best foot forward and my best face on, but just ready for some real positive changes, and very, very motivated right now. And that's all I will say about that. Happy Mother's Day, guys. And as always, no matter what you're doing, whether you're out on the town or rounding third base, get home safe.